this is what the player board looks like. Your hero starts on a specific area, and everyone has a little island that they start off on. You cannot traverse the water until you have built one of your mechs, which grants sort of additional movement abilities. So depends on the faction, but some of them will be able to move across lakes onto specific types of terrain. So I think the Polish people, you can click on this button up here and it will show you like different things. But I think we can move into mountains and tundras. So what are we looking at here? This tile here is a forest, and from a forest you can get wood, naturally. This type of tile here is a village, and from villages you get people, which are these guys, more workers basically to reap the land. Here is called a farm, and from the farm you get food. Over here you've got mountains, and there you get steel. Over here is tundras, and you get oil from there. These tiles here are called lakes, and in the centre there's this place called the factory, which when you get there, if you get your character there first, well, it doesn't have to be first, whenever a character visits it, they get to choose some extra technology, which is like an additional thing that you can do. I'll talk more about that later maybe. Let's turn this fan off, wind tunnel. So at the bottom here, there's 4 different actions. So on your turn, you basically pick one of these slots. For most of the factions, you can't do the same thing twice in a row. You have to kind of do something else and come back to it. Unless you're the Russians, they can just do the same thing over and over again. But the way that you do the action is you kind of read from top down. It's a little bit condensed here. It's not as obvious as the physical board game, but this, for example, this first one, you'd pay 1 money and then you'd get 2 resources. This is called a trade action. You could pick a combination of 2 resources, any type, don't have to be the same. And then once you've done the top action, you can then do the bottom action. For example, in this one, the upgrade, you need to pay 3 oil, and then you can upgrade. And what an upgrade does is it improves one of the top abilities, and it discounts one of the bottom abilities. So, for instance, this upgrade costs 3 oil to begin with. If I actually upgraded this area, it would then start costing 2. So it's a bit like in terraforming, like increasing your production. This is sort of like decreasing the cost. Similar sort of concept. Next one, this is called bolster. This is just basically increases your military power by 2. But you see there, if you'd upgraded this area, you actually increase it by 3. And then after you've done that top action, you do the bottom, which is pay some steel, and you get a mech, and you actually get a bit of extra money as well. Next one, this is how you move. So this here is move 2 characters once. So I can move this fella here, this fella here. I can move my character to there, and then what I cannot do is move my character once and then move my character once again. That's not allowed. So one of the mechs, if you build a mech, they give you, as you build the mechs, you get more powers, and one of them is it sort of makes your movement 1 better, so you can then eventually start moving twice. The bottom action here is called build, so you have to pay wood to build a building. There's 4 buildings that you can build. I'll talk about them individually in another video. Next one is called produce. This is how you make your workers sort of gather resources from the land. So right now I've got a worker in the woods and one on the farm. So if I did produce, then I'd get one food here and one unit of wood here. If I wanted to sort of increase my rate of production, what I could do is I could move my men to the village, 2 guys on the village, and then when I do the produce, those 2 workers generate 2 more workers. I'll leave it to your imagination as to how that occurs. Just bear in mind that if you have too many workers out, it actually costs you stuff to use this produce ability, so be careful, don't get too many guys out too early. And then the second action here is called enlist, and what that does is, it's hard to see it here, but there's 4 tokens on the on your sort of player mat. You take one off, and basically you get an immediate sort of payment, a couple of different things, and you also get a passive sort of payment which comes to you based on what your neighbours are doing. I'll talk more about that in a different video.